Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. But is it actually a good morning? Is it actually a good morning, though? Because I'm looking at this thing moving after the CPI. Sorry, I'm up 3 minutes late. But we had a CPI. Okay. Number comes out, US CPI, month over month, spot 3 versus the expected spot 3. Core CPI, month over month. Spot 2, expected spot 2. All of the yearly numbers also in line. And yet, you can see here on my screen, treasuries are down big time. You can kind of see here on the charts. Oh, hey, where's my G? All right, let's fix that. Let's fix that real quick. Come on. There we go. All right. So you can see here, like, big spike up on the numbers. Like, hey, that's good. It's all in line. And then we got crushed. I suspect maybe there's something else going on, though. Well, let's take a look at all the charts here first and kind of talk about what happened. Well, the treasuries are significantly lower today. So there's some selling going on outside of all that. S&P 500 just moving along. Okay, oil has not actually increased. So this is all very curious. Gold and silver? Okay, well, they're a little bit up. Copper, a little bit up, but that's maybe a recovery from all this. Japanese yen, downish.
Block buy.
Ooh, wow. Okay, that was a big order that just flew through here. Holy shit. I have to show that real quick. That was like 7K right there at 04.5. You see that? Wowzer. Wowzer. Okay, and then last one, Bitcoin.
Block sell.
This is pretty wild stuff, guys. Like that. That's pretty wild. So maybe somebody has decided to push back against this selling. But I'm not sure I understand why it's selling. So I changed my working hours to the London session, finished at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So much better for your... Well, let me tell you something. Well, wait. If you finish at 8 a.m. Eastern time, I'm kind of like... Okay. But when you're day trading... I really don't feel like there's that much good opportunity after 11 o'clock Eastern time. Like once the London closes, yeah, it's like all of the liquidity dries up. If you're doing stocks, maybe, but yeah, after 9 Eastern time. I said 11, but I meant 11 my time. After the London session closes, it's, yeah. The trading opportunities, especially in like the futures, is just not as good. And there's these people that like they want to sit in front of the screen all day. The F is wrong with you people. Seriously. Especially in a situation like this. Like, seriously. This is crazy stuff. You kind of have to disconnect yourself from it a little bit. I noticed that there are a lot of people out there. Because look, it's a war. And it's a war that a lot of people had warned about for decades and warned against for decades. Right? So, you know, it's going to catch your attention, and that makes it kind of hard for you to relax and like renormalize yourself and everything. So, but I do, that doesn't answer why did the treasuries get smacked down so hard? It really feels, I don't see anything from the news squawks. Let's see here. Japan Industry Ministry, total amount of crude oil to be released by Japan from both private and state reserves will be around 80 million barrels. Nick Timmeros noting that the inflation readings are the lowest readings in 5 years. Yeah, I don't see anything other than that. So I'm not quite sure what that's about, but very volatile market there. Seems like somebody decided that didn't make any sense and decided to buy it. I'm a little bit concerned that we could get some Iran headlines and that could move us. Iran today, if we can't sell oil, nobody can sell oil. Well, so what I saw yesterday was pretty wild. The whole thing. So what happened yesterday? I was able to work from home yesterday, which, oh my gosh, thank goodness, because they like closed the entire freeway. There was an officer involved shooting on the side of the freeway. And so they closed the entire freeway. It's always the same spot for some reason over in Draper. But so I did not spend, probably would have spent like 2 hours in the car yesterday. I worked from home. So I worked from home. I'm sitting here. I've got the news squawk on and I'm hearing this all play out. The first thing that I hear is that Iran is moving, or that their U.S. intelligence assets are saying that Iran is moving to place mines in the Strait of Hormuz. That was the headline, and that was the way it came out, was they cited intelligence assets saying that Iran was moving to do that, okay? So then Donald Trump is like asked about this, and he's like, well, if they've put any mines in there, then they better get them out right away or there's going to be trouble, sort of a thing. So, like, they didn't say that they were moving to do it. They just said, oh, they had already put mines in there. So Donald Trump is basically responding to fake news. And then the administration had to come out and say, no, there's no evidence that there are any mines in the Strait of Hormuz, right? And then the headline that I heard was that B-2 bombers, U.S. B-2 bombers were taking off from their military base in the UK. And then about 30 minutes later, the report was that the U.S. had destroyed 10 boats. Now, first of all, I thought that the Iranian Navy was basically destroyed. Well, it kind of suggests that maybe they were small boats. So I think the idea is you get small boats or maybe missiles, and you can throw stuff into the strait, and it would be kind of hard to stop. Okay. So just watching this all playing out is like, RAF Air Force has so many bombers right now at the base. Plane spotters and journalists chill there to check for movements. Yeah. So it basically watched this whole thing play out where we found out that Iran was doing something and then the U.S. went in and stopped it. And watched it play out in real time. This was what I was expecting a war with Iran to be like. They would be getting like by the moment updates about strikes and things happening over there in Iran. Up until now, it's kind of been a little bit like, what's going on? You know, and we don't see stuff until long after it happens. And when it does happen, you're kind of unsure about what's happening and why and all this stuff. I don't know. But I think that something significant happened there. And here's why I think that. Putting mines in the strait is kind of a nuclear option. You realize you can't, once you put mines somewhere, it's not as simple as just, oh, well, we'll take them back out. Like, even if you put them there, you're going to have a hard time finding exactly where they were and dismantling them. I think that these mines are like react to metal is my recollection. So like you have to get a wooden boat, go out there and find the mine and dismantle it and stuff. Like it is hard. It's a really disruptive thing. If they put mines in the Strait of Hormuz, then I think that this conflict would escalate. Because the only thing, frankly, I think really holding the U.S. back here, or like that they have to worry about, because really, when you think about it, this is like a I'm sorry if you don't know StarCraft. Okay, I know probably most people haven't played StarCraft. I just don't know a better analogy. This is a timing attack. Basically, in StarCraft, you will get these situations where you get a certain unit before you know that your opponent is able to get the counter to it, and so you attack at a certain time to exploit that temporary advantage. All right, that's what the U.S. is doing here. Basically, the U.S. has technology that is able to evade the radar and anti-air defense systems of Iran. China and Russia pushed this technology as super advanced and that the U.S. couldn't get around it. And they sold it to Iran, and then it turns out that it didn't work. We can get around it. And so the U.S. is taking advantage of that now because, you know, they found out last year that it didn't work when Israel attacked them, right? You take advantage of it now, basically destroy all of their anti-air infrastructure. And then even if there isn't a regime change, you take everything out and then you just continue to have strikes every once in a while. Right? That's like the worst case scenario for the United States. Right? So you come in and you're watching on the internet, you're going to see all sorts of people say all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of people, not necessarily that they're supporters of Iran or anything like that, but they don't like the war. They don't think that it was a good idea. And hey, most of the analysts that I know that were experts in this area say that an attack on Iran would go really, really badly. And I think that the United States understands that. They feel that this is their best opportunity to do something about it, and that if we don't do something about it, that it would be pretty hard to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon after that. So that's why we're at where we're at. And when you come in and you watch what's going on, how is it actually going? We know that we have air superiority, that we've done a lot of stuff, but I mean, it's been a week. It feels like nothing's happening. It's kind of confusing, right? And people say lots of things like that the US is totally screwed and all this sort of stuff. Well, in this situation, you're not going to get very good intelligence. You're just not. They don't want you to know about these things. This thing with the boats, that had to have been like a super secret plan. The US didn't know about it until like that day. That means that Iran had done this thing and kind of prepared this thing, and they were able to keep it from all of the spies, and the West wasn't able to find out about it until they'd said, go and use it. Okay, like that was a super secret thing, right? You're not going to get good intelligence. I see a lot of people out there that seem way too confident about what they think is going to happen. If you think that you know that the U.S. is going to lose or Iran is going to lose or something like that, I don't think you know what you're talking about. Because you just don't have enough information. Now, if you're an intelligence expert or you work for the U.S., maybe then you would know, right? And something I think is funny is that the kinds of articles that I'm seeing people post are like, this math guy posted this thing, or I don't care. Show me a former intelligence official or a former military intelligence professional and what his opinion is on it. Then maybe it'd be worth listening to, right? So in that situation, what do you do as a trader? Well, trader, not a traitor, a trader. Well, I think that one of the best things that you can look at is actions. And not just talk, not just like, oh, don't do this, or oh. I mean actual actions. Okay. Iran took the step that was basically a nuclear option that would basically keep the strait closed indefinitely. And then the US acted against it. So I don't know. Does Iran have other more quote unquote nuclear options left? I don't know. But Iran took an action that kind of suggests to me that they're pressured and running out of options. And the US addressed it very quickly. So I don't know if that was one of their kind of like best secret quivers or arrows in their quiver or whatever, then maybe Iran is much closer to collapse than we realize. But I don't know what they have in store, right? It's just one little tea leaf that we got that I say does not speak well for Iran. Now, the issue is still, as I understand it, the IRGC is saying that the strait is closed. Like, Iran says it's open, but the military, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard will shoot on anybody that tries to go through there. And they don't have a navy to do it with, but they will use drones and missiles to attack any boat that tries to go through. There has been a boat or two gone through, but everybody's still terrified to go through. And the U.S. is like kind of holding back. Like, their boats aren't directly in the strait. There's been talk about, well, we could do an escort, but like nothing's happened there. I think primarily because even if there was an escort, everybody's still just too afraid to go through. I wonder if, like, now I'm trying to game out, well, what can be the possibilities? Because you're not going to be, if that's like the real strategic possibilities and stuff, I don't know if the governments want it discussed online, right? So we kind of have to figure it out on our own. I think that the U.S. just wants to buy time. That the more time you get, the more missile launchers and drone launchers and so forth you're able to take out, so that you can get to the point where when stuff tries to go through the Strait of Hormuz, they can intercept the missiles that come down. Because with the amount of stuff that Iran could shoot through, it would be pretty hard for the U.S. to stop all of it. But if they're able to degrade Iran's capability enough, there's a point at which it's not a big deal anymore, right? I think that's what's happening. Another thing is that, you know, they say that 20% of the oil supply comes through the Strait of Hormuz. Well, that's not all from Iran, right? There's a lot of that is from Saudi Arabia. Actually, what is it? Let's pull up a map here. Because I'm not exactly sure what city or whatever it is that's over there. Oh, it's Dubai. It is Dubai. Okay, so a lot of oil comes out of Abu Dhabi and Dubai and Qatar and Bahrain, right? Oh, and Kuwait. Yeah, okay. So all this stuff comes out and it has to come through this strait. So that's why it's 20% of the world's oil supply, right? Well, Saudi Arabia has a pipeline that basically comes through from Dubai over to the other side. And apparently this pipeline normally only transfers like 1 million oils per day, but can transfer 17 million barrels per day. That's crazy. Okay, so they are rerouting all of that oil over to the Red Sea so that it can get out. That's another thing. And then we saw all of the nations. It sounds like they're going to do a coordinated SPR release. It's not a guaranteed thing, by the way. Should just say, like, any one country could come in and say, no, we don't want to do that and stop it. But it sounds like it's going to happen. So that kind of relieves the pressure a little bit. It kind of feels to me like that's kind of the U.S. strategy. Because I keep hearing a lot of people say, well, Iran has a strategic advantage here and everything, and that should cause oil prices to go higher. Don't get me wrong, oil went up. But kind of seems to me that it's more complex than that, right? Seems to me that it's more complicated than that. Otherwise, because well, of course, Donald Trump said that like we're almost done, but I don't see how that's the case. I don't know if the U.S. can just decide when we're done, to be honest with you. Okay, Nick Timmeros tweets 2 asterisks about what would normally be considered a fairly decent CPI report. First, obviously, this was before the economic fallout from the Iran war. And second, the very favorable data imputation in the October report due to the government shutdown unwinds after March. Okay. So maybe that might explain why, in the end, the Treasury sold off of that CPI report. I really, because I don't see anything other than the CPI. That means I don't want to buy it. Yeah. Pipeline can only handle 20% of production. I mean, the thing is that if the strait remains closed and this conflict turns into a kind of perpetual on and off thing, yeah, oil could go a lot higher. And, well, I do think there is a limit on how high it would go before it would really create serious demand destruction and a recession. So, like, I don't know what those numbers would be, but I can just kind of guess. I guess that if oil got above $150 a barrel, because that's kind of been the place before. Once you get beyond that, there's so much demand destruction it creates economic chaos. And yeah, we're kind of staring down some economic chaos here, which is kind of like the markets seem pretty calm. We're facing that possibility. They don't think that it's going to happen for whatever reason. I find that incredibly interesting. I'm starting to sweat, and I'm feeling like, oh, maybe I didn't put deodorant on, so I'm going to do that. Ah, I see what the problem was. So I didn't have the fan on. Saudi Arabia tells OPEC its oil supply to the market in February was 10 million barrels per day, and production was 10.882 million barrels per day. So they're having the talk right now, huh? U.S. Navy USS Mustin to forward deploy to Japan. Okay. Yeah, by the way, guys, I would pay attention to the yen here, because the country that probably stands to lose the most. I mean, I know it sucks for in the United States, but the country that probably stands to be hurt the most from oil prices going crazy is Japan. They're kind of trying to juice growth, and there's concerns about inflation over there. And if we get a large increase in the energy prices, that makes the situation there in Japan that much worse. And that might be why you're seeing a little bit of a decline in the yen right now. And hence, they're the first ones to come out with an announcement of an official SPR release. Checking my email and I got an email. Quick question. Are your kids outside right now? No, it's 7 in the morning, you idiot. No. My gosh. So I've gotten into writing lately. I know I've talked a little bit about probably a lot about this, haven't I? It's the new hyper interest. Probably 6 months from now, a year from now, I'll forget about it. But the interest is writing and penmanship. And so I joined all of the subreddits about it. And pretty much every day there's a post like, oh, what can I do about my handwriting? Blah, 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 blah. I think that everybody assumes, well, my situation is unique. There needs to be a thread specifically for me to figure out why my handwriting is uniquely bad. And the reality is that most people's handwriting sucks, and for the same reasons. And so basically all of these threads can all be answered with the same answer: get better paper and a fountain pen. But I see all of these threads now every day when I get on Reddit, and it's hilarious. You're such an algo baby, I guess so. Do you think that the algorithm suckered me into getting into penmanship? No, I don't think so. Because the only reason I wanted to do it was to take better notes at work. It is kind of funny just to watch, though. Even in something as mundane as handwriting, they get the same nonsense in their communities. Same stupid questions over and over again. I almost guarantee you watch TikTok or shows. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. One thing I do notice is that a lot of the things, that I've become more interested in as an adult ended up being things that, like, I remember seeing something about it as a kid and not really knowing what it was about or, you know, going into it. And then it kind of died off. So, like, fountain pens, that's certainly the case. Because I remember my dad had a fountain pen, and then, like, somebody tried to use it and got ink everywhere, and that was the end of that. Right. So I didn't know anything about how fountain pens really worked and all of that sort of jazz. But so then I got into it, and it turns out, like, oh, it's actually a pretty great thing. Like, we should all be using fountain pens and like give up on modern pens because they like screw up your writing. Basically, because you have to push into the paper. It trains you to hold it really, really tight, and then you get this really shaky, scraggly handwriting, and then you're fighting the paper because the little bumps and everything in the paper will kind of push you off track. And then you get terrible handwriting. if everybody had good paper and good pen, then probably most people's handwriting would be pretty okay. I like 0.0. So explain that to me. Why do some people vastly prefer thin lines? Because it seems to me that the thicker lines kind of hide the imperfections. It's funny that you've gone into handwriting and I've been working on your typing. Oh, really? Is there a get your typing faster social media pipeline out there? That's like, because I've never come across that one. Maybe it's because I can type upwards of 150 words per minute, but oh, I've never mastered home row typing without looking. Okay. You know what? Something that I never got is the number row. I mean, I know where the keys are, but that's too far. That's too far for just feel. Yep, monkey type for speed and testing, type racer for accuracy and speed. Well, you can do accuracy and speed in Type Monkey too. I mean, the cool thing about Type Monkey is that there's so many settings you can test it for just about anything, including typing bizarre characters and things like that. And I was concerned that I wouldn't learn very well. Oh, I wouldn't be worried about that for you. So as you get older, the concern is that your neuroplasticity goes down. But especially for people like us, we're involved in the markets and we're involved in more of the informational side of the markets. That alone is going to be something that's going to keep your neuroplasticity up. And then if you're the kind of person that's going to be interested in that, you're also likely to just be involved in other things that keep your neuroplasticity up. So I have been surprised at how quickly I am able to completely rewire things. Essentially. Like, that's a big deal with handwriting. Okay, you've been writing a certain way all your life. You hold the pencil a certain way all your life. It's really hard to change that. And you know what? It's actually not that hard to change that. Give it 2 weeks. If you really force yourself on a different way of holding the pen, in a different way of, or, like a different script, the way that you write the letters and all of those things, you can completely rewrite it. So now I write in italic, and I'm sure that I could write the way that I did before, but like, when I think about it, I'm kind of like, I'm not even sure I understand how I wrote before. I don't know how I did it because I've already rewired it, and it only took a few weeks. It's just, you got to do it every day for about 10 days, and then you adjust. Now, if you're over 40 and you're not a very engaged person, you're kind of lazy and all that, then maybe you would have that problem. And if you're over 65, then you would definitely have that problem. But you and I probably don't have that problem. The problem that we have to worry about is more, if you do exercise, it takes longer to recover. Hold on, I got something on my hands. I need to try washing my hand again. Let's see here. I turned my 30 minutes practice into a daily ritual, and even sometimes during the stream, like Seth starts rambling, and I go do typing practice on another tab. I've wanted to get, because there are some people out there that can go over 200 words per minute, and I don't know how they do that. Because if I try typing that fast, my fingers get tired and stuff. And you start getting into this weird thing between like being light and being hard. Because I think you move faster if your fingers are light. But then to go fast, you kind of have to go hard too. And how do you sort that out? So is that where like maybe you need a different keyboard or something? Well, I just have linear red switches. So it should be fine, right? I definitely type faster on my mechanical keyboard at home than I do on the Logitech keyboard that I have at work. So I would like to get like a Glove 80. And if I got a Glove 80 with the silent red switches that are super, super light, would I maybe type faster? I don't know if that sort of thing makes a difference or not. But it's like a $400 keyboard, so I've been waiting. I haven't done it yet. I have so many things that I need to do. I need to finish the taxes. I need to rewrite our PDF emailing thing. I need to work on our GUI. And then I have a video to get out and a bunch of other videos that I want to make. And I want to make a hardware channel one. You know, because a keyboard, that reviewing that keyboard, that would be a good video for the hardware channel. Right? But I don't think I would want to spend the money that we use for the live stream on that. Because one, it's just like a very large expense that I don't really think would help grow the channel. I do think we want to get the new Elgato audio interface that's coming out in like May or something. Because this microphone, the input on the interface isn't high enough, and it would sound a little bit better, bit more clear and professional if we had a better. And plus, I could like a monitor with the effects turned on and all these other things. There'd be some advantages to it. So that'd be like $350. So you'll spend some money on that. But yeah, so then I started thinking about that, and I'm like, oh yeah, but there's all these other things I need to do. Like there's this cost. I'm spending $50 a month on this thing. I should switch it. I did do some work on the GUI yesterday. So I kind of sorted out a little bit of the project structure and restructured that a little bit, and started to get the rhythmic thing with the proto files working. And I think that I got the base structure around that together. And now I need to understand how to use their messages, because they have like a Python example, but there's tons of files in there. And I got to sort out like where the entry point is and how they actually use it to log in, so that I can see what I need to do in Rust. I slide my fingers really fast on mechanical keyboards with ridge or sharp edges, catch my fingers and annoy me. Yeah, that might be part of it too, is that you gotta have kind of lift your finger and then push. I will eventually get the $400 keyboard with my own money, but I think that might be more like a year off. And who knows, better keyboard might come out in that time.
Block by.
Can you believe they were still at 04.5 in the treasuries? That reminds me. Let's go in and look at some of that stuff a little bit. So here's our files that we got. Oops. So here's our Python sample. Response, request. Sample bar, sample MD. What would be an MD? Okay, base B2B is just created by the proto. Let's try this one. Also generated by the protocol buffer. This sample program is intended to provide a simple but working Python 3 example of how one might use R to retrieve tick bars. It makes use of WebSockets library, which is built over the async IO library. This can be run with no arguments to display usage information, dependencies, etc. So does it do the login? Okay, here are the references to the compiled proto files. Okay, so they have the login and logout imported. Okay, here's the login. So we make a new login request. We serialize it. Put it in a byte array. Await ws.receive. Okay, ws must be the WebSocket. Or no, let's find where rhythmic underscore login. Right here. ws equals loop run until complete. Connect to rhythmic URI SSL contacts. Oh. WS is a WebSocket secure. It can't actually be that simple, can it? Huh. I honestly thought that it was going to be more than that. It is literally, it is creating a WebSocket and then passing the correct messages in there. And the proto files are just to give you the structure of the messages that you can send through. Wow. Okay, we can totally work with this. This will be easy. Not that I could like totally type it up right now. I've got 30 minutes left. Okay, but so that's good. Then what I should look at is I should look at the email thing. Let's see here. So I talked to ChatGPT about this once. I want to find that conversation. Python CGI. Still at 0.4 but there is decent volume trading there. No imbalance in cumulative delta. You know, it's funny, I didn't even notice, but we did bounce off of the extended session -1 sigma. I wouldn't really say bounce off of it, but we kind of pushed into it and then slid back. Almost like they pushed into a rubber band. Marty, how are you? real question was... service. Oh, it is kit.com. Let's throw that white flag. This isn't our war. Okay, wait. Why isn't this our war? Why? I don't understand the reason we're talking here. Guys, hold up. We got to stop. No more firing. This isn't our war. We have to stop. Just let them have the bomb. We can't do anything about it. This isn't our war. What? Does that make sense? Like, but whatever. This is going to be the thing from now on, right? Anytime that we say something about that we don't like the war in Iran, or things aren't going well in the war in Iran, or we don't like that we've been in Iran for 5 years, or whatever the deal is, right? We're just going to come back to, oh, you know what? You're right. We should have just let them have a nuclear bomb, I guess. Nothing we could have done about it. Should have just let them have it. That's always going to be the response, right? I mean, it's kind of funny because that is why we're going in. Is Iran really genuinely that close to getting a bomb? And if they did get a bomb, would they genuinely use it? I guess I'm not entirely sure on that point. I mean, I think that they would. Just because, well, they come out. I mean, they've basically spent every day for the last, like, 30 or 40 years saying that they want a nuclear bomb so that they can destroy Israel. Or at the very least, so that nobody can do anything to them while they try and undermine Israel's security. Maybe they wouldn't use a nuclear bomb to do it, but I don't understand, like, they say that for 40 years and we're supposed to just be like, oh, they're just joking. Those silly Iranian clerics, you know, they're just joking with you guys. Don't pay any attention to them. I was like, come on. They said they want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. These are people that would be happy if every Jew was killed. And you want to give them a nuclear bomb? What? How do people... I don't understand how anybody can know this situation and think that we should just let them have the bomb. It must be that, like, you don't genuinely believe that they can get it, or you don't genuinely believe that they would do anything if they got it. You don't understand that even if they don't use the nuclear bomb, the way that it changes the political calculus is very, very bad for Israel and bad for the United States too, frankly. Israel said that they would use. Well, actually, no, they haven't said that. But Israel would use it if they faced an existential threat. Yeah, they would. They would. Officially, Israel doesn't have a nuclear bomb. We know that they do, but they will never admit it. They're not supposed to have it. Yes, that's okay. Israel doesn't want to genocide all Muslims. Israel doesn't get up there every day and say, we want to kill all of the Muslims. I wish that we had a nuclear bomb so that we could throw it at them. They're not saying that stuff. They just want to be. If Iran and these radical Muslim groups just stopped committing terrorist attacks against Israel, there would be peace and they would mind their own business. I suppose there would probably still be little clashes over, land there and people starting new settlements in what is supposedly Palestinian land. But they're not out there to kill an entire race or anything. It's not false. Do we have to go and play every public address that Khomeini ever made? Because all they ever said was death to Israel, death to America. It was their fucking motto. How can you not know? All right, help me out here, guys. Am I just hallucinating that he said that? It was literally every time that they talked. It's really wild to me. I mean, so where we're getting to is, you think that Iran should be allowed to have a nuclear bomb? Quite frankly, I don't think that that's a serious opinion. I'm not making any sense. It's only been the foreign policy of every Western government for the past 40 years, but it doesn't make any sense. Okay. We don't want countries that want to kill us to have nuclear bombs. How is that not make sense? What about that doesn't make sense? They constantly say every day, death to America. We don't want them to have a bomb because they say that. They do. It's not false. They say it every time. We go and watch them. You don't know what you're talking about if you think that that's false. That is all Iran has ever said is death to America. You kidding me? Dude, you're talking, it's not just that they say death to America. This is a country that put bounties out on U.S. soldiers' heads. This is a country that has killed U.S. soldiers in the past. This is a country that kills U.S. citizens and funds terrorist organizations. Almost all of the terrorism and mess that you've seen in the Middle East over the past 20 years can be tied directly back to Iran. And then you're saying, but we should let them have a bomb. It's not a serious opinion. You don't know what's going on. You can't possibly know what's going on and then think that they should have a bomb. Yeah. Aren't you literally arguing with... Yeah, well, I mean, APOL has a good question. Just answer that question. Wait, what question? You must... maybe it hit a post or something. Maybe you said something too crazy in it. it blocked it. Because I say, why they say death to America? Oh, maybe... Is that the question? I didn't think that one was like... When I read it, it didn't register in my mind as a question. Why do they say death to America? Because Israel exists? Yes. So what are you really saying? That Israel shouldn't exist? It's because you're fighting Israel. Yeah, we are fighting Israel's battle because we believe that they have a right to exist. So now you're coming back into the same question or the same problem, right? Oh, you're right. We're not Israel. I guess we should just let Iran have the bomb and see what happens. No. So it's like, have you guys seen Attack on Titan? Well, I guess we better just let Marley genocide the island of Paradis. Not our problem. Come on. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't dive into Attack on Titan analogies because then all of a sudden we'll start having arguments about whether Eren did anything wrong or not. Why wouldn't they? So wait. Your argument is Iran thinks that Israel shouldn't exist. They want to genocide Iran. And the United States says, no, you can't do that. And so because the United States says, no, they can't do that, Iran says death to America. And they're justified in saying death to America. And we have no business saying whether or not they should be able to have a bomb. You're fucking insane. Do you understand that what you're saying is basically calling for genocide? Do you support genocide? This is like a genuine question. I kind of think that you do. Israel does not want to kill them as well. Israel wants to be left alone. If these countries stopped attacking Israel and stopped supporting terrorism against them, everything would be fine. Like, the thing is that I think is really wild about this is that Israel has a large Muslim population. I don't think that Israel would ever let it to get to, where the Muslim population was so large that they were larger than the Jews, because then it's a democracy and they would outvote them and that sort of thing. All right. But they are totally okay with having Muslim people in their country and having the same rights as everybody else and them being a part of the country as long as they are Israel, that they support the country Israel and aren't there to like undermine it and do terrorism and all of these sorts of things. If places like the West Bank or Gaza were to say, okay, absolutely no more terrorism, anything like that. And it's been 20 years. There's no terrorism. Okay? No terrorism, nothing like that. I think that Israel would have no problem with either A, allowing them to become their own country, or B, annex them and let all of them become citizens. Why is there a problem? Because they want to kill the Jews. You want to blame Israel because they just exist. They're just there. And the fact of the matter is, Iran doesn't think Israel should exist. If Iran had their way, every Jew would be killed and that land would be Muslim. That's what they think. I haven't seen attack, but they have attacked the United States. Like that's the funny thing is that when we attacked Iran and they're like, oh, they're just attacking Iran for no reason, like just completely ignoring the past 40 years of world history and the countless instances of Iran killing U.S. soldiers, supporting terrorism, doing all of these things. It's wild. And the whole reason that this has been allowed to fester for so long is because of the oil, frankly. So it has always been, yeah, if we shut down the Strait of Hormuz, there will be some economic pain, and we don't want that. But they keep getting the nuclear missile, and it's pretty much gotten to the point where you can't ignore it anymore. And if you want to stop them from getting the nuclear bomb, you have to do something now. And that's why this is happening. It just seems like that's their problem. I mean, it's the US's problem when they're attacking us. Yeah. If Iran has been such great neighbors, why did they shoot in almost every direction? It really is kind of an interesting thing, isn't it? Like the rest of the Muslim world has basically come to the conclusion that we should just leave Israel alone. We should stop supporting this terrorism and stuff. It's bad for our societies. And Iran is the only one. And now pretty much everybody else in the Middle East is lined against Iran. Never thought I would see that, but it is Iran attacking basically every other Gulf country. Oh my gosh, imagine going to bad. What was bad supposed to be? Going for a leadership structure that genuinely outlines when raping women is acceptable to their God. Well, I mean, that's a completely different issue, right? Because I tell you what, man, the I don't want to say Muslim, because Muslim is kind of more an ethnicity than it is a religion. So I'm not sure what you just say followers of Islam or whatever that I've met here in the United States, they were just fine. It seems to me that just like Christians tend to do, they just, they take the things that they like and they kind of conveniently ignore the parts that they don't like. Right? But the actual religion itself, like what is taught in those books, I would say that the Quran itself is mostly okay. But then especially when you get into like the political structure and stuff that's prescribed and so forth, I find it absolutely abhorrent. Absolutely abhorrent. And it upsets me that there are people in the West that want to import more of that. Because even if the individual people are good, you get too many of that, they're going to try and impose Sharia law, and it's going to be bad. Your white brain associates Muslim with brown. Well, no, it's not that. It's not that. It's just that Islam is larger than Muslim, right? So you're trying to say, oh, there's this whole group, and you think you're only talking about this tiny little group right here. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this is Muslims, which basically is like people in Saudi Arabia, and then this is Islam, is much larger than that actually. Now I'm talking about this thing. This thing concerns me. The individual people in there are generally okay, but the religion itself is I think harmful. Mormons aren't an ethnicity either. Well, okay, so let's ask. Maybe I misunderstand the terminology here. Proper short term for followers of Islam is Muslims. Okay, so maybe I am wrong. Or I was misinformed. Oh, you're right. Arabs. Arab would be the term for people in the Middle East. Okay. Mormons aren't an ethnicity either. I kind of think that they kind of are now, to be honest with you. I think Mormons are basically an ethnicity now. I remember people saying that you shouldn't call them all Muslims. I don't know where I got that from. Okay, so let me say it a different way. I don't want more Muslims to be imported into the West, because I don't want Sharia law, and I don't want the other parts of that culture here where I live, because I think that Islam is harmful. All of the individual people are fine for the most part. I mean, the ones that I meet here in the United States, at least. There are many Muslim people already in the United States, and again, it seems like people will kind of pick and choose which parts of their religion to follow. But they still follow their religion, and if you get enough of them, they will try and impose the religion on everybody else. And I think that the religion is bad. No, I don't think it's a subconscious thing unique to whites. I think that it's just culture, right? Well, yeah, when we are not 2% of the population, but they're not going to be 2% of the population for very long. With the policies that some Western countries have put in place, it's going to only be another 10 years and you could be looking at Sharia law. Certainly within 50. Yeah, because why would I assume Muslim means anything other than a because I think that Reddit told me that there was a broader category. Like I thought that Muslim referred to like followers of Islam in the Middle East, but then like that the term Muslim did not apply to like Indonesians, for instance. Didn't a special little city literally try to ban dogs recently? So there was a thing about dogs recently, but I don't think that it was because the city tried to ban dogs as much as it was that certain prominent Muslim activists in the United States made a lot of derogatory comments about dogs. So I actually think this one is kind of funny, and it disappoints me a little bit that everybody kind of forgot about it. But one of Zorhan Mamdani's like inner circle top supporters is this woman that's a Muslim activist, and she is constantly on Twitter saying derogatory things about dogs. And then she made a Twitter that basically was saying we should ban dogs. And then after everybody got upset, she's like, guys, I was just kidding. I'm not saying that I want to ban dogs. That's dumb. Except for that, like, you talk about it literally every day. So I think that you do want to ban dogs, and you're just lying to us now. Is what happened. And so there was this huge uproar. And then all of the liberals were like, no, you can't talk about things like that. That's mean to say that. To criticize them for wanting to ban dogs. It's not sensitive to their culture. Their culture, they don't like dogs. And every other red-blooded American is like, no, fuck that. I love my dog. And I should be able to go out in public with my dog. It was a big lose. It was a big lose for liberals, and that's why they buried it so quick, right? There definitely is, but there is a cultural thing here, right? So again, the problem that you get like when we're speaking scientifically, statistically, okay, is that you can get statistical distributions where the mean or the average of that population does not really tell you very much. And why is that? Because the width of the distribution is so wide. So if you have a distribution that's like this, okay, what does that tell you? Well, the average is probably going to be somewhere around here. But it doesn't tell you that actually there's some that are way below average and there's some that are way above average, right? So the average doesn't tell you anything. And in most populations, like if we were to look at IQ, it's actually, the distribution is actually kind of more like this, right? And so you get some average right here. And then if you say that there's another population and their average is right here, are you really finding something statistically significant? Like you can't make predictions right with that. You can't go and take any one individual person and predict what their IQ is going to be with that, for instance, right? So particularly when it comes to Arabs, there is a lot of discussion I see out there online that is essentially trying to say that that Arabs are genetically inferior. I see a lot of that, and it's wrong. I mean, that's incorrect. It's just mathematically and statistically wrong. It's a misunderstanding of statistics. Essentially, it's a fallacy that humans are very prone to, and it's not one that I want to play into. Okay, but the religion of Islam itself has some beliefs in it that I find abhorrent. I'm not going to mince words about that. I think there are things in the Quran that I find abhorrent. There are things in Sharia law that I find abhorrent. And I want to keep that as far away from my society as possible. See, stuff like this is why we argue so hard on you just being a boxed juice hater and would party when they got nuked and can't see why you're nothing but a little warmonger like they want you to be. It's obvious what you want and think it doesn't matter who or what Iran bombs, attacks, or silences. You would cheer. Are you cheering them? Bombing the UAE? Yeah. Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, anybody that knows what's going on understands the end result that would come from some of the things that they're saying, right? And you can pretend that that's not what you want, but I'm honestly not sure I can trust people when they say that, because they're either like really just incredibly misinformed or they're just trying to deceive us. And there are people in the Islamic world that are just trying to deceive the West. There is, without question. But at the end of the day, I think that Israel has a right to exist, and I think that Israel has every right to pursue their own safety and security for their country. And that, because of what Iran says and does, that means that they cannot be allowed to have a nuclear bomb, and that it justifies whatever necessary to prevent them from getting it. I personally, so this is another thing, is like, well, you shouldn't have attacked Iran because oil prices are going to go up and you're going to lose the election and whatnot. My opinion is, oh well. Priority number one is Iran doesn't get a bomb, and I think that losing the election is worth it if it prevents Iran from getting a bomb. I think that an economic recession, or maybe even a depression, is worth it if it stops Iran from getting a bomb. Whatever's necessary. Because it is, in my opinion, an existential threat, both to Israel and all of Western society. We cannot allow them to have a bomb. And again, it's just kind of like bonkers to me that anybody can hear what Iran says and think, oh yeah, they're just joking. Let them have it. Well, Mahdi here is in denial that that's what Iran says, but it is what Iran says. I'm sorry, bud. But people are misinforming you. Just like I was misinformed by Reddit thinking that Muslim was a synonym for Arabs. Yeah. A lot of people, I really do think that they just hate the Jews. Like, even here in the United States, it is very much like a rise in racial awareness in conservative circles, that they're like, other races do what is in their best interests. We need to start doing what's in our race's best interests. Oh, and by the way, Jews aren't actually white. They're not in the same circle or whatever, which, I mean, to some extent is true. Jews are a different subculture. They do have interests that are going to differ from like your typical white person in the United States, right? But then that somehow morphs into this, so they should be on their own, and if they get genocide, who cares? Well, I don't believe that. That's crazy. That really is that. I think you just hate the Jews and you want them gone. And you're not saying it because you know that if you said that out loud, that you would be ostracized from society. So I don't know how you talk about some of these issues without having to always take a second out and be cautious and point out some of the inherent like what's inherently wrong about some of these ideas, right? That's the thing. They literally use the excuse of the Jews deserve it. Let's stay stuck on one question. If It's all Israel's fault. Why the UAE again? Other countries. They bombed the UAE because Israel is mean. They bombed the UAE because all of those countries are helping the US. I mean, that is the thing, though, Madi. You got to understand. I mean, do you have to understand? I guess you don't necessarily have to understand. But if you want to know what's going on in the world, one of the biggest changes that we have seen in the past 10 years is that the majority of the Muslim world has realized that it's better to just let Israel be and to start to partner with Israel and be friendly. The majority of the Muslim world is starting to come around to that. And it's literally just Iran that's not. And that's why when the United States attacks Iran, Iran attacks every other Muslim country. So there is some movement here going on. I didn't hear. Well, it looks like my voice menu squawk disconnected. Trump's Board of Peace set up a JP Morgan Chase account. Well, that's hilarious. Okay, Axios says officials prepare for at least 2 more weeks of strikes. Trump, practically nothing left to target in Iran. War with Iran will end soon. And this is all from the same Axios story. Okay, so the Trump administration, after having put out the feelers, is kind of moving more directly towards that operations are going to end soon because there's nothing left to shoot at. Which, so the thing is, I think we need to stop Iran from having a bomb. Did we prevent them from getting a bomb? Or is Trump chickening out, not finishing the job? I'm honestly not sure. I don't have enough information to know. I kind of suspect, though, that he's chickening out. Nah, you know what? I don't think that Israel would let him chicken out. They literally needs to be like, yeah, this is all we can do right now. And hopefully the people in Iran now are able to rise up or whatever, right? You know? I don't know. I guess the thing that would concern me is then after this, China starts bringing in, rearming Iran and bringing in more stuff and kind of, again, remember I said it's like a timing attack. We have a situation where the U.S. has a technological advantage where we can just basically move in and strike whatever we want. I'd be very concerned seeing things like that advantage is about to go away. And we should do everything to keep that advantage.
Block by.
Maybe I'm more America first. It is 100% in the United States' best interests that Israel continues to be a nation. It is 100% in the United States' interest. I think it's also kind of a little bit bonkers that people think, oh, just let them genocide the Jews and then everything will be fine. No, it's not going to work like that. You let them genocide the Jews and then they're going to be like, okay, who can we kill next? You're next. You're next on the chopping block, folks. What we are doing is in the United States' best interests. Turns out that sometimes the interests of the United States and other countries like Israel are the same. What do you know? Surprising, I know, unintuitive, crazy that people's interests can be together, but it does happen, and that's where the good things in life come from. So let's not complain so much about helping our friends, okay? Well, I'm over time anyways. Tomorrow should be interesting. Well, the rest of today should be interesting because, I mean, I don't know how I feel about this Axios story. But, yeah. I'm going to get going. So, see you tomorrow. Stay excellent, team.